I want to start work on a new piece. A piece about rebirths. The inevitable pull that they exert and our efforts to escape them. We'll learn it now, but Susie, you will improvise freely at its heart. I'm interested in your instincts here. The piece will be called Wieder öffnen, open again. Allez!
Everything is ready, my darling. Do not be afraid. Soon we'll be together again.
This sandwich tastes as dry as hell.
Hello, double L-I-P-O-P spells lollipop.
Why don't you just go hand out parking tickets and leave me alone? Stick to something you know about.
Listen, my daughter was about your age. Then she met a guy like you. Now she's dead.
You should believe in ghosts, P-Brain.
He's a closet! Don't hurt me, please! Don't keep me waiting for those onions, Hermit!
This is all the whiskey you possess?
Everyone out of the way of the bulldozer!
Hello and welcome to Hello, This is the Doom Show. I am Richard. Folks, I am joined by Simon. Hello, Simon.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the most popular film ever made. I have to look it up. I think it's called Nuspiria.
Yep.
Sorry, okay, let me start over. We are talking about a film that is 100% fresh between Simon and I. Or is, what was Rob Zombie's Inferno going to be called? The Third Motherfucker?
Oh, yeah. It was kind of like two versions of it. I think I called it the second mother, fucker, and then David Assassino kind of rightfully just put that together to like the three motherfuckers. Which, yeah. I already want to see a double bill of that, Three from Hell.
Me too.
Yeah.
No, we're talking about Suspiria from 2018. I'm going to drink my entire water before we even get started. Talking about Suspiria from 2018. The remake of the 1977 film by Dario Argento and written by Daria Nicolodi. And we're going to talk about Luca. I'm going to see if I can butcher his name right when we get started. I believe it's Luca Guadagnino.
Yeah, that sounds right. I haven't even tried to say it yet, so no, good job, man.
The writer also has a name.
Oh, yeah.
David Kajanic, or Kajanic. That's how I'm going to say it.
That sounds good.
I apologize to he and Luca, who are basically hanging on our every word. They called me and said, record with Simon, please. So Simon, before we even start about this, you've seen the original Suspiria maybe once, right?
You could say that, yeah.
We're both fans of the original.
Oh man, I think when I first came on the show, and you did that questionnaire with me, and asked me favourite Argentos, and I said to you, and I kind of still stand by this, that like all my favourite Argentos, which is all kind of from that period of like Suspiria, as much as I love Deep Red and all the early ones, but kind of really from Suspiria through to Phenomena, those are like all my four favourites, and I go back and forth which is a favourite. Probably Tenebrae less, just because I'm more into the supernatural stuff. But I've kind of come back round full circle where, now maybe if I'm pushed, if somebody said you have to put it down to like one single horror film, what is your favourite? It might be back to Suspiria, which
nice.
I think I kind of gravitated away from that for a bit because it just feels like such an obvious kind of answer for, somebody who's not as big into horror but big into Italian horror to say. But it just feels so fucking perfect. And I've gone round from, how like... And yeah, maybe still, the film is maybe like one of those albums, where they put the best track at the start, and it kind of But no, I think the fucking ending as well is just so badass, you know, like with the building going down in flames and that, you know, the second half of the title track kicks in, you know, just fucking amazing.
Nice. Back in the day being like 2002, 2003, when I started collecting horror, Suspiria was one of the first films I got on DVD. You know, because it was just an easily available Italian horror film back when your choices were not super limited, but it was hard to get frickin' Italian horror back then. And so I've had Suspiria in my collection for years and years, and it's one of those ones I love showing people.
Yeah.
I love showing it to people who didn't even know Italians made horror. You know, like I love it. I saw it at a little tiny theater with a bunch of people. That was amazing. It was an old bank that had been converted into a small event space.
Right.
So they had a projector and a frickin' a screen, and then they showed the movie cranked. I mean, like loud.
Nice.
And the lighting, the whole place is white. Everything in the place is white, but they had all red and purple like lights everywhere. So it was this perfect viewing experience.
Oh man, yeah.
And just seeing the scene with Susie and Sarah and the snakes. that sequence with the crowd is amazing.
I once read that names which begin with the letter S are the names of snakes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it still is. It's kind of a cliche to sort of call it this, but I still think when I reviewed it, like my first ever blog post sort of reiterated, you know, saying it really is. Maybe, you know, there's other films like The Beyond and others, but maybe more than any others, kind of really the kind of gateway drug, as it were, of the Italian horror film, you know.
As unique as it is among them, it also is a great gateway. But it just gets you ready for that dubbing. Just gets you ready for it. It's ready for non sequiturs and things you don't understand. But so 41 years later, this Suspiria came out. And I had been hyped about it since they'd been talking about it since frickin' 2008 or so.
Oh, wow.
Which I'll go into some of the history behind how this project came about. But I am into it because I was into it because I figured worst case scenario, they make it like a boring American film. But I figured that wasn't going to happen. That I thought that the people who were going to make it were going to try to do something weird with it.
Yeah.
And even if they made a garbage movie, at least it'd be something weird.
Yeah.
And you are not against remakes, I take it.
No, I mean, I don't really get I sort of do and don't kind of get both sides of the argument, but I just, like, anybody who treats it like it's kind of a new phenomenon, it's like, for God's sake, you know, look at like kind of the year dot of cinema. Or, you know, damn close to it. Like, we may have talked about this before, but like, you know, the Maltese Falcon. You know, I think people forget, or they may not even know that before the kind of classic Bogart one, you know, there was another film version, which I've never seen that, but it seems to have been one of those cases where, you know, they did a better job the second time. And hell, you know, it can happen, you know, for like, I suppose the famous ones to talk about. Yeah. Like, I mean, God, you know, The Thing, case in point.
I also see both sides of the argument where it's like there's a literal mountain of screenplays, unadapted screenplays, you know, like just there's so many things that have never and never will be made. We don't have to keep retreading and remaking. I mean, for God's sakes, they've remade The Grudge for the Americans again. That's hilarious to me. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not against it happening, but it's just, who cares what Hollywood does? Who cares? Let them do. And if you're going to spiral out in remakes, then interesting shit's going to happen. For me, The Last House on the Left remake is interesting. I am a fan of that. I'm a huge fan of the Evil Dead remake.
Yeah, I only seen that once, but yeah, I was very impressed by that.
I mean, I'm a little nitpicky with these things. You know, there's always something they could do better. Obviously, Rob Zombie's Halloween is one that everyone loves, universally acknowledged as the greatest film ever made. No. And with nitpicks on that, I still really enjoy that. And like, I say give everything a chance. If it looks like garbage, don't bother.
Yeah.
But yeah, this, I knew it was going to be interesting, and then it got delayed, and I figured it was never happening. But then it happened, and I was right there when it finally played near me. I know a lot of people, I think Brad couldn't go see it, because it was nowhere near him in Kentucky, and so...
Yeah, we were the same.
I felt relieved that it was actually playing here, and Lieta and Marky Karloff and Carrie Frankenstein Karloff, she now has his last name.
Oh, yes, of course.
Wow. And that's a legal name change, by the way.
Awesome.
Yep. And we all went and saw it, and we had a freaking great time with it, and it was one of the weirdest... It's certainly the strangest film I've seen at an American, AMC, the generic...
Well, like multiplex?
Yeah, one of the generic chains we have here in the States. AMC is just like white bread, boring shit. And dude, seeing this bonkers, nearly 3-hour film with a shocked, quiet audience was freaking wonderful.
Brilliant.
All that preamble leads us to a spoiler warning.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Before... Sorry, another spoiler. I should have said this at the top, but just so you know, listeners as well, this is probably going to be the last episode of the show, because when you find out how me and Richard really feel, you're all going to fucking lynch us.
Yes. It was nice knowing you guys.
Yep.
Thank you. The fact that we're talking about it positively is already a problem. Sorry, everybody. But yeah, spoiler alert, we will be murdered. And the second spoiler is we are going to definitely talk about the plot. We're definitely, holy shit, no, we're not going scene by scene.
Oh, no.
But if you're at all curious about this film and wish to see it someday, yeah, we're gonna talk about some shit. So here's a trailer. I'm not sure about trailers made after like 1991. So I sort of looked for a trailer for this, so I don't know what I'm gonna play right now.
At the beginning, she gave me things. Perfect balance, perfect sleep. Oh, she wants to get inside of me. I can feel her. Oh, she can see me.
When you dance the dance of another, you make yourself in the image of its creator.
I feel like I'm not even here yet.
The dumpling's incredible. 1, 2, 3. The way she transmits her work.
You have to decide, what is it you want to be for this company?
There's more in that building than what you can see, Doctor.
You are living with dangerous people. Three mothers, pre-God, pre-devil. Mother Tenebrarum, Mother Lacrimarum, and Mother Suspiriorum. Darkness, tears, and sighs. You're making some kind of deal with them.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's all a mess. The one out there. The one in here. The one that's coming.
Dude, podcasting's hard, bro. That's why we disconnected the video feed.
Yep.
Because we're wearing our ballet outfits.
Exactly.
We got our white frickin' paint on, our stripes. We're all painted. So that's the trailer for the film. And here is the quick IMDb plot synopsis for Suspiria 2018. A suit-wearing, briefcase-carrying baby pairs up with his 7-year-old brother to stop the dastardly plot of the CEO of Puppy Corporation. That's the plot of Boss Baby 2017. I apologize, folks. I really thought that they had the same plot. No, here's the actual plot synopsis from IMDb. This may make less sense than Boss Baby. A darkness swirls at the center of a world-renowned dance company, one that will engulf the artistic director, an ambitious young dancer, and a grieving psychotherapist. Some will succumb to the nightmare. Others will finally wake up. Wow, that is so vague. I love it.
Brilliant. Perfect.
So before this movie was made, in 2008, according to my trivia notes here, Luca Guadagnino acquired the rights to remake Suspiria from Dario Argento and Dario Nicolodi. This will prove contentious later. It was definitely contentious for Asia Argento.
Oh boy. Yeah, I forgot you were going to... What was that quote again?
Okay, this is Asia Argento. She's always very special. She says, why do a remake of a classic? Because the remake director is an up-to-no-good cunt who will burn in hell. Guadagnino is a sneaky son of a bitch who licks asses left and right so he can fuck them better. Which, I'm sorry, that just sounds like a nice person. Like, you're Lubin. Thank you. No, she is great. She is going to side with her dad because apparently Dario was upset that he was never consulted on casting or consulted at all about the film, apparently. And so his reaction to it, we'll talk about that in a moment. But yeah, apparently he was disheartened that they didn't want his help.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously two sides to everything. I think there have been, we might get into later, a few kind of slight shenanigans with this movie, like, some of the visual influences and all that. Yeah. I believe there was a bit of a lawsuit. So yes. I don't know whether there was some kind of miscommunication or he was misled initially in terms of what his level of involvement will be. I haven't really come across too much about that, to be honest.
And it happens all the time. People talk a good game in order to get the rights, and then they kind of fuck off and do their own thing, and people get hurt, whatever. But
yeah.
He and Dario Nicolodi's name are all over the place, and this is not something to be embarrassed of. This project is not a failure in my mind. So, and it gets more attention for the original, and they got paid, so who gives a shit? And Guadagnino, his intention was not to direct it himself. He actually was going to produce, and good old David Gordon Green, who went on to direct the Halloween 2018. Or Halloween 11?
H2020?
Yeah. Halloween 12, the Quickening. Halloween 12, Electric Boogaloo. I don't know. Back in 2011, this is from Slash Film. I'm actually citing something. Wow. He said he has a new draft of the script and wants to make it his next film. And while he plans to change some elements of the story, in recent interviews he says he's planning a very faithful adaptation. He's even got the rights to the original film's chilling, screeching score from Italian band Giallo, and will use the music in his version. Now, he said his script is very faithful to the original, less about ballet and more of a story about the occult at the boarding school. Scene for scene, it's very similar. He says, I don't want to emulate Argento or rip him off. I don't want to do a shot-for-shot remake, but I do feel like it's a springboard, a lot of huge ideas, and a lot of artful, magnificent ideas, and things, this is very nice, things that aren't in the movie theaters in the genre right now. One of the things he talks about is sound design would be a huge part of it, which that actually ended up very much a big part of this movie is the sound design.
Yeah.
There was some fun casting stuff here. Originally, I was there at these meetings. Originally, they talked about Natalie Portman.
What year was Black Swan? Was that at the same time?
I want to say that's where the talk started.
Right.
2010, so yeah. So basically, somebody saw Black Swan, and Natalie Portman might have even been on board, whatever, but yeah. Another amazing casting that they're talking about was Judi Dench. Would have been Madame Blanc, which I think is great. But his cast was Isabel Furman for Susie Bannion.
Yeah.
Michael Nyquist, who passed away in 2017, I want to say.
Yeah.
Isabel Huppert, Janet McTeer, and Antje Trau. I'm definitely butchering that name. So yeah, he had to bail whatever budgetary reasons, he bailed and moved on with his life. And of course, we know he went on to make Halloween 2, The Return of Banh Mi.
Yes.
PB&J Banh Mi, brother. And so the project was put to rest for several years, and there was talk of a TV series as well, which thank God. I'm sorry, folks. My attitude towards shows now is just in the toilet. I'm like, oh, this looks like a great project. Oh, it's 10 episodes? I'm never going to watch it. Then Guadagnino in 2015 is going to remake the film himself and direct the film himself. And he pulled in writer David Kajanik, and there's a quote from Guadagnino. He talks about watching the original Suspiria. I was so terrified, but as always with something that terrifies you, I was completely pulled in. I think the process of how that movie influenced my psyche probably is yet to stop, which is something that happens often when you bump into a serious work of art like Suspiria. I think the movie I made, in a way, represents some of the layers of my upbringing, which, watching the movie for the first time and thinking of it and being obsessed by it. Another point of contention among people who did not want this remake to happen at all, writer David Kajanik, I believe he's the one who said he didn't like the original film.
Yeah, that I knew that kind of before my first viewing, and that did bug me a bit. I've sort of come to terms with it.
I was fine because I was like, yo, dog. And he was like, word. No, I didn't give a shit.
Fair enough.
And, hey, maybe I'm just the third mother. I'm the mother of hot farts.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like sigh from your other end, isn't it?
It's so nice not to be judged.
Oh, no, not at all.
The movie got made. Hooray.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, we're going to talk about it. So we've got in this cast, I'm loving Chloe Grace Moretz. I always say Moretz because of the old tape recorders. God, I'm old. Help. Chloe Grace Moretz plays Patricia. She escapes the school and gets away, gets married, has children, lives the rest of her life. Oh, no.
Nope. I'm just thinking it's funny. I think somebody else might have commented on this, but she's kind of become some weird, like, patron saint of, like...
remakes.
Horror remakes, yeah.
God, we need to get her in a Halloween remake. Damn it. Rob Zombie is back, y'all. So, yeah, she's Patricia. She's completely psychotic in this movie.
Oh, man.
And what I love is that she's really high build, like she's top build.
Yeah.
But she's only in the movie for like 6 minutes. But she worked her butt off, damn it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, her makeup later apparently was a 5-hour makeup chair sitting.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
And that first scene as well, she's just like bouncing off the walls, kind of literally, you know, it's, it's great.
We got good old Dakota Johnson as Susie Bannon, not Banyan.
Not Susie Ban Me.
A Susie Ban Me sandwich. Oh my God. So I literally kind of didn't know who this woman was. Mm-hmm. I knew that she was in those hilarious 50 Shades of Grey trailers.
Oh, yeah.
Which apparently those are movies. Like, those weren't just trailers. They weren't like really erotic cologne commercials. But she plays Susie Bannon, and I could not have picked anyone better. Holy shit. Love her so much. Mia Goth plays Sarah. And the thing about her and Susie is that people with the names that start with S's are the names of snakes.
Yep.
So Mia Goth she actually had her name changed to Goth because she's so fucking goth.
Yep.
I don't know.
Oh, I've just seen her full name. Jesus. Wow.
What is her full name?
Apparently it is Mia Gypsy Mello da Silva Goth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Like, she seems like somebody who would have a music career. I hope she's like a secret frickin' like one of those multi-instrumentalist people. Like, she just has a microphone plugged into a loop pedal.
Yes.
She just makes scary chanting music. I'll look up into that. Oh, baby. I know her from A Cure for Wellness from 2016.
I heard about that. It sounds interesting.
Oh, yeah. Give that a shot, dude. It's good. It's from good old Gore Verbinski.
Oh, shit. Right.
Yeah, he's so death metal, his name is Gore.
Gore and Goth, wow.
Yeah. Gore and Goth go great together.
Yeah.
The only returning cast member from the original, of course, is Jessica Harper. She reprises her role as old Susie. No. She plays the wife of a woman named Dr. Klemperer. Ha 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 ha. Folks, let's just talk about Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
There's an elephant in the room, and she's also played by Tilda Swinton. Tilda Swinton plays not one, not two, but 3 parts in this movie. My favorite thing about her male character that she plays, this psychotherapist named Dr. Klemperer, is that the actor who's credited for that role is Lutz Ebersdorf.
Yeah.
And it's a made-up name. And Eber is swine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And Dorf is town. And so it's Lutz Swinetown.
Yes.
Or Swinton. It's so dumb.
Brilliant. I knew there had to be something in the name. I was at first putting it into like anagram solvers to see if there was some other, but yeah, it's kind of a bit more, it makes sense. They done, playing with the language.
Is that cheeky? You're British. Could you define that as being cheeky?
Well, I guess so. It's more like cheeky would be like, I don't know, knocking somebody's bins over or something, or what do they call it? Not ding dong ditch, I think you call it, or knock a door run, I think we called it as kids.
This Suspiria 2018 is the ding dong ditch for fucking Italian horror fans.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh my god! So Tilda Swinton plays the aforementioned Dr. Klemperer. He survived World War II, although his wife seems to be missing. She disappeared during when the Russians invaded Germany, and or before the Russians, I forget. And she plays Madame Blanc, who was originally in Suspiria.
Oh god, why'd I close that window? Somebody relatively famous. Oh my god, folks at home, never close the window, only open the doors.
Joan Bennett. Ho, I did it. Mm-hmm. So she's playing Joan Bennett's role, and I wish she makes a frickin' imposing character as Madame Blanc. I mean, I don't know about you folks at home, but Tilda Swinton can do no wrong. I've never seen her in a movie I didn't love her.
Oh, I agree, yeah. And I meant to, as part of my research for this, there was a lot of stuff I meant to watch, like I've been good to see some of Luca's other movies and all that, but one I wanted to revisit, I've only seen once, as a early Tilda Swinton film, was Orlando.
Yeah, I saw that ages ago. Yeah.
Because, it just makes sense, and, like, I suppose we can address this right at the top. People saying, oh, she's doing, playing a man for, like, no reason. It's like, well, one, it goes back to stuff like Orlando and, all that kind of gender bending. And also, like, in at least 2, maybe more Argento films, there's similar stuff of having, people playing characters of opposite gender, but it's not kind of apparent.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, one slightly is, but the other not so much, in Tenebrae.
No, and there was one of the intentions to make, like, there's so few men in this movie. They thought it was interesting to have the character, like one of the principal male characters, actually be a woman underneath. So they just thought it was interesting, and I'm glad they did it.
No, I agree, yeah. It's kind of almost like the polar opposite of, although this one even more extreme with its kind of, all being leaning to one gender, would be The Thing, I guess. Whereas, if memory serves, I think the only woman in that film is Adrienne Barbeau, plays, like, I think the chess computer, I think.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I always forget about that. I love her. And then, of course, she plays Helena Marcos, which is the one I really didn't realize. Because I went into this movie completely cold. So when I saw Helena Marcos in the theater, my brain was like, wait a minute, who's that? Apparently, a lot of people on set didn't know that Tilda Swinton was playing Dr. Klemperer.
Brilliant.
That none of the extras and all the people on the set just thought this old actor was there. And very few of the cast members even knew, so that's pretty sweet.
It's taking me back to Twin Peaks and flipping, God, what was his name now? Fuck, I've totally forgotten, but yeah, the Japanese, elderly Japanese businessman.
Oh my god, it bears looking up.
Yep.
Why not?
I'm gonna kick myself in a minute.
Piper Laurie, and yes.
IMDb, you fuck.
It's Catherine Martell / ...
Yeah, we've got to be in our bonnet about this now. Here we go, I got it. Yeah, Tajimura.
Mr. Tajimura, God bless
credited as Fumio Yamaguchi, and I'm not going to look into it now, and I will do at some point. I hope there's some, again, like, trolling the cast and audience with that name, hopefully.
Oh my God. It translates to wonderful, sexy character.
Yeah.
Like, I've always thought Piper Laurie was beautiful, but she's so much hotter as Mr. Tajimura. Like, so much more fuckable. Anyway, we all knew I was going there. So those are the main people. Is there anybody else in the cast that sticks out to you other than the completely gorgeous Alec Weck?
Right.
I might be mispronouncing her. She's the one, I think she's the only black witches at the school. Oh, spoiler alert, there's witches at the school.
Yeah. Of the matrons, I guess is the word. Yeah, I think there's a black dancer, but yeah, she's Miss Milius, I think. There's a few teachers who are interesting, but the main ones that stand out, I guess, are Miss Tanner, played by Angela Winkler, but my favourite has to be, hands down, Miss Vendergast, the house mother, played by Ingrid Caven.
Yeah, wow.
She's delightful.
These women. Angela Winkler, man, her performance really is freaking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. She's German, as is Ingrid Caven. God, Ingrid Caven was a beauty back in the day. Not that she's not cute in the movie, don't get me wrong, folks. But holy shit. Wow. She was in a movie called Looping in 1981, which I'm assuming is about guitar pedals.
Well, let's hope so. And something's just blown my mind. Right next to 2 years before Nuspiria, she was in a version of Sleeping Beauty, apparently, which kind of blows my mind because there's a bit late in this movie, which totally reminds me of a bit in the old Disney animated film of that. When Susie's going, down into the inner sanctum, I guess, at the end, with that guiding light and all of that.
Man, I'm loving this. Yeah. Like, this movie might have a few layers to it. Who knows?
Just a couple.
So they move the setting of Suspiria from wherever the fuck Germany to very specific time and place. Specifically when the Red Army faction, a terrorist organization, militant, I'm sorry. God forbid I say the T word. No. According to Wiki, because of course I'm thoroughly researching this episode. Their activity peaked in late 1977, which national crisis became known as the German Autumn. So they were responsible for 296 bombing attacks between 1973 and 1995.
Holy shit.
And it was just a very a fun time for folks who had already been dealing with the split of East and West Berlin, because apparently it was really fun.
Oh, yeah.
I wish they'd do that with Tampa. Just section off the university area from the rest and just build a really big wall around it, checkpoints and everything. Strip searches, body cavity searches, waterboarding, but instead of water, it's, I don't know, cognac. Mountain Dew? I was trying to be classy. You know me too well, my friend. Have I sent you the Mountain Dew cocktail? It's a Mountain Dew in a cocktail glass with a Dorito on the edge of the fucking glass.
Oh, doctor.
It's probably been on the internet since like 2005, and I'm still laughing about it like an idiot. I'm stupid. But yeah, this whole frickin' tone is so gray and dismal because communism worked perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
No, human nature is all about sharing, so there's no corruption in communism. It's perfect. LOL, BRB, LMAO. No. Yeah, it just adds this layer of dread where the original film, you can't replicate the original tone of the original film.
No.
It's too fucking weird. So this has a totally different tone.
Yeah, they said something, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here, that, in terms of that style, they kind of push that to kind of its zenith, really. You can kind of argue that, but I think, it's kind of fair to say that in that kind of way, that psychedelic, you know, every color of the rainbow almost kind of style, you know, it's kind of like a mic drop. So it made sense to do something totally different. And I know a lot of people find it really visually unappealing, but I really don't get it. I mean, maybe it's a case, for one, I wonder where they've watched it, like how the room's set up, because first of all, to get the most out of this movie, you know, make sure your TV's not set up like horrendously. Also, you really need most, if not ideally, all of your lights off just to sink into, because it has that, and you know me, I'm a sucker for this, you know, from like David Lynch through to a movie that this, in terms of mood and look, really reminds me of. Would you kindly send me the Blu-ray of? It was The Black Coat's Daughter.
You're welcome.
Oh, yeah, cannot wait to watch that. But you know what I mean? That kind of really wintry sort of, you know, it's dark all the time inside. Everything's really low lit, but you can still see like so much within that. You know, it's just so like, just meticulously lit and everything. But yeah, like from the off, going back to the kind of, and yeah, to kind of play, not devil's advocate exactly, but for people who kind of detract, you know, saying the political stuff is like shoehorned into this. I'm kind of a bit more kind of halfway of it. It's more there. I don't think it's completely irrelevant, but it's more there at the periphery, again, of part of the mood and atmosphere. And I love how it starts of like, you know, that first shot, you know, kind of zooming in or tracking in on Patricia, you know, in the midst of this kind of literal like riot, you know. And they just straight away, it's just like chaos and panic. And, you know, because she's already, for different reasons, so kind of panicked herself. I think it's just kind of perfect, but in a different way, you know. And sort of going on, but not, you don't want to get too much into the plot yet. I love once she gets into Klemper's office, you know, how it's shot and edited. It's like this kind of eyes looking in through the walls from everywhere, you know, how it's like cutting every which way.
And symbols are everywhere that have eyes in the symbols that scare her. But no, I feel like, I mean, I have trouble articulating this, but then there's a line in the movie later. I'm going to throw this quote in a little bit later. There's a quote later that really just draws all of this shit together, that this political stuff is not pointless. It's not shoehorned in. They definitely wanted to reference World War II. They definitely wanted to reference what was left of Europe after that. There is no getting around it. They wanted to reference, especially they wanted to get into what it was like for people in Germany around that time, trying to survive with this unending paranoia. And the whole of Europe was just so screwed because that whole area, dictators would pop up and just turmoil everywhere. So I really feel like they could have set this any other time, anywhere, but they wanted to do it this way. So just enjoy the ride.
I mean, it seems like, again, you know, kind of going back to Twin Peaks, you know, the whole 25-year thing, they kind of looked at it and went, okay, so, you know, the original film was, you know, from 1977, and looking at that, it kind of feels retrospectively almost like weirdly fated, because there is, and people even talked about, there was a really good essay, I think it was on a site, I think it was called Kino Eye or something, talking about fascism in the original Suspiria, which, you know, you look at like, oh God, you know, case in point, Miss Tanner in that, and, you know, her kind of just whole demeanor and all that, you know.
Yeah.
And,
she's like a little, like a frickin', oh, I can't think of her name. The bitch of Buchenwald. Like somebody who just like escaped from persecution from Nuremberg, you know, and said, well, if I can't run a concentration camp, I'll run a frickin' ballet school. You know, like
Exactly.
she's so authoritarian and just terrifying.
Yeah. And they really like kind of obviously leaned into that for this, and just like you say, paranoia is a good word for it. There is a lot of that, like early on and later on, with once Sarah kind of realizes what's going on, and you know she kind of gets increasingly isolated.
Well, why don't we go ahead and start talking about the plot by way of some key scenes?
Yeah.
I purposefully didn't want to get bogged down in scene by scene, so I probably have less notes for this. I said, how long is the movie? Okay, I'll conversely or just perversely take as little fucking notes as possible. It's gonna be great. Let's get into the whole opening credits, which I think you sent me the Final Girl blog.
Oh,
where
yeah,
she
yeah.
is analyzing the whole opening credit sequence. Oh my God. So good.
If you get a chance, you want to listen to a podcast she does with, I forget the fella's name, but the podcast is called Gaylords of Darkness, where they... she talks about going to see this film as being kind of like tantamount to kind of like a religious experience, which I know again is going to put some people right off. But no, I say, if that is how it affected you, then yeah, hold your hand up, be honest,
I just found the freaking artwork they did for Gaylords of Darkness. First of all, fantastic name for a podcast.
Yes.
Second of all, the frickin' artwork is wonderful.
Oh man, it is an absolute laugh riot, and they're really, just insightful and just passionate about it all. But she kind of carried that over, talking about it on the podcast into, she's one of the people who, back in my sort of blogging days, inspired me to do the whole, 31 days of horror thing in October. But this year she did 31 days of Suspiria instead, and not the OG,
wow.
The remake. And I've only read a few of them, but and I imagine she could have kept going,
Nice. And that's Stacey Ponder, by the way.
Yes.
And her podcasting buddy is Anthony Hudson. But yeah, I too have been reading her for many years. Very inspiring. Man. I like people.
Yeah.
So this opening credit sequence, though, it is so evocative. Oh, God, I just used the word evocative. Folks at home, if you hear me use the word evocative, I apologize. I might even use the word underrated later, and that'll nuke us off the map forever.
Yep.
Look out. But the style of this is just so great. The Suspiria added at the train station on the signage is almost an afterthought.
Yeah, perfect.
I think I didn't even notice it when I was at the theater.
I don't think I noticed until maybe she
it.
pointed it out in the blog, actually, maybe until like a second, third viewing.
Man, so good. So good. But we get introduced to Susie and her background, which is this super, super, super strict religious background. I want to say, were they Quakers?
Mennonites, I think she said.
Mennonites. They were like that. They were like the Amish were too lax or something like that.
yeah, something like that. There was some kind of relationship.
Oh,
and then,
brutal.
Yeah.
So yeah, her running away to school is like just betraying everything. So
did you see somebody who stayed behind though? Somebody who was pregnant in that household. Did you spot who was kind of holding her eyes, almost like she had a migraine? Did you spot that? Yeah, unless I'm mistaken, that is Dakota Johnson as well, playing pregnant sister, I think.
Nice. Twinsies.
Like maybe twin, yeah.
Twins, Twin Peaks, because women have breasts. Oh no! Why did we think of that when we talked about Twin Peaks, bro?
Oh,
yeah. Did we even think about boobies? No. Podcast canceled. No, we'll fix it on the return. Twin Peaks: The Next Generation talking.
Absolutely.
I just love saying that. TPTNG, y'all. So she runs away to school to go to this ballet school, and she passes her audition, which apparently is very, very rare, not only to be able to audition, definitely not going to get Madame Blank to come in and see your audition, but she shows up, and immediately just her being there seems to signal something to Madame Blank. Her lesbian senses are tingling.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably offensive, folks. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Oh, no, I think it's meant in the nicest way possible.
Of course. Because, of course, that's one of the aspects of this movie is one of the red herrings is that Madame Blank gets attracted to Susie, and more than just for her dancing and this hypnotic thing between them, that it all turns out great. For Susie.
Yeah.
Hey. Anything you want to add about this whole setup here?
Oh, so yeah, like you say, when she does the audition, Madame Blank's like in another room, but she can kind of sense maybe Susie's just kind of radiating something kind of, special or maybe even supernatural. And we can talk about this later. And I think you can debate, if she was always, we've already said spoilers, but if she was always Mater Superiorum or not, or whether that's something that is kind of, she comes into over time. I mean, I think she's always been drawn there, but I love, getting into some of the camera work. You have to talk about the cinematographer. At the end of that audition, or like partway through it, when Susie does that spin and the camera's spinning and how Madame Blanc just appears. And then this is one thing I love about this, how they go back to the kind of 70s style, not just by, I think they shot this, I believe, on 35mm film, but by using the zoom lens quite a bit and just perfectly. So, the cinematographer anyway, and speaking of not being able to pronounce stuff, although he did a very good job, I think, with them. I haven't tried any yet. So cinematography by, I'll give this a go, Sayombu Mukdeeprom.
Wow.
Yeah, who is, I believe he's from Thailand. And I've seen only one other film that he's shot, but it's one of my favourite films of probably the last 20, 30 years, which is Uncle Boonmee Who Can Recall His Past Lives.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which
wild.
Absolutely must see, yeah.
I want to say you sent me the trailer, and even just from the trailer, that movie the scope of that is like, holy shit.
Oh, there is something special about that film, totally.
Wow, very nice. She gets her, after Patricia freaks out, disappears, because she's telling Dr. Klemperer, there be witches, y'all, all up in there. And she sings a chorus of that Rob Zombie song, burn all the witches and burn Dragula, hey.
Oh,
I did it. Oh, there's something I wanted to look up. So Patricia, when she's having her epic spaz out in the doctor's office, she is singing a song.
Oh, yeah,
I found, of course, I didn't recognize the song, but I am a fan of this artist. She's singing a Nico song.
Ah, that makes
called,
sense.
Fairest of the Seasons. I just want to take a peek at these lyrics here. Geniuslyrics.com. Oh, yeah. The verse is going, one of the verses is, now that it's light, now that the candle's falling smaller in my mind, now that it's here, now that I'm almost not so very far behind, I want to know, do I stay or do I go? Beautiful. Nico's great. Great.
She was, I think, I'm not too well up on her, to be honest, but she was kind of, I suppose, kind of contemporary to, well, yeah, she was a German singer, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I believe.
Mm-hmm. Her full name is Nico Brunschwager. No, I'm just kidding. That's Brunschwager is like little hot dogs or something.
Oh, it shows how much of a foodie I am not, because I totally believed you. But that's cool that she's in there, and also kind of, I guess, contemporary. I've seen a few Bowie posters in that.
Yes.
Sort of getting me in the mood today. I was listening to, I think, something recorded, I guess, contemporary to when this is set, was his 77 album, Low.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, man.
And folks, don't listen to Simon. One thing I know about him, he's always in the mood.
Oh, yeah.
In the mood for some purple sticky punch.
Oh, yeah, and smashing the patriarchy.
Dude, if your bong is shaped like a dick, smash it. Help.
Smash it while I'm smoking it. Oh,
That's
God,
right.
Smoking?
Shards.
Ooh.
That's permanent damage from the ancient thunder lettuce. So the rest of the witches are voting. They're voting for who will be in power of this beautiful school. Oh, your choices are Madame Blanc or Helena Marcos. And yeah, dude, I vote Blanc.
Yeah.
Just saying. I mean, I hate to be judgy about looks, okay? But the little baby arm growing out of Helena Marcos' shoulder, that shit ain't right, dude. I get that removed.
Oh, man, I kept, a couple of times watching this recently, I kept wanting her to turn into fat bastard all of a sudden from fucking Austin Powers. Go, I ate a baby!
Now, Simon, I am not a guy who does drugs, but can you imagine watching this film, especially the ending, on acid or shrooms or something? Because I've read about these things. I read an article where a guy did a bunch of shrooms and went and saw the new Cats movie.
Oh no.
It was fucking hilarious. Needless to say, he did not make it through the whole thing. He had to run out.
I'm surprised he didn't get sectioned afterwards or something, to be honest.
he took a handful, and then during the trailers, he was taking more. It was so fucked up. Oh, man. Anyway.
Oh, boy. No, I cannot imagine. It would be... Yeah, you probably have something like a religious experience doing that, maybe. Or
That's
it would
Stacey
be...
Ponder's secret.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Oh, she's like, guys, shut up. No, stop it. So yeah, they're voting on the different witches, and we'll find out later. How you voted is very important.
Oh, totally, yeah. I just want to say something, sorry about this, again, going back to kind of camera work, how this scene starts, Sort of starts before that. You have, is it Klemperer? I think he's in his bed. The alarm rings. He wakes up, and you have kind of a little sound bridge of flipping Vendigast just kind of singing to herself, sat on the ledge. It's like just wonderfully gloomy and rainy outside. I think is this about where the rain starts, or is it earlier? That's kind of through almost at the first half of this movie, and they do this wonderful long take, like all around the kitchen, around the kitchen, back out through the room while everybody's voting, and just introduces so many of these characters really nicely. And one person we've seen already who I want to mention before I forget is Miss Griffith, played by Sylvie Testude. She's the lady with the kind of bowl, sort of bob haircut and the giant glasses.
Oh my God, she looks so different.
Yeah.
Without that getup.
Oh man.
Yeah, she's such a great actress. Oh my God, you just feel for her.
Yeah, yeah.
She's having a bit of a meltdown that culminates very shockingly later. So Susie's she's into the school. She immediately starts having nightmares, sleeping. Her roommate is good old Sarah, played by her next door neighbor.
Yeah, yeah.
But they become fast friends. She starts having these horrific nightmares, and also she seems to be visited by a presence. Probably the most colorful thing in the film, aside from the frickin' ending.
Yeah.
Which is this rainbow swirl strangeness that keeps happening. It's like there's something in the room with her that visits her at night. It's really fascinating. Do you think that's Madame Blanc?
Well, she says that she's sending their dreams, and you have like one bit where you see us kind of like looking at Madame Blanc, and she's presumably like projecting this while like the lighting goes all kind of purple and weird, So I'm guessing so.
Just sending those erotic dreams.
Yep.
So the imagery in these dreams got the production a little in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
They reference a lot of photography.
Yeah.
Like famous references to struggling to think of what to call this type of photography. Just very, very bold, shocking, and just like really, really disturbing imagery. They wanted to directly reference these pictures, which apparently is fine until someone specifically said, no, Mendieta?
Yeah, yeah.
The photographer's name is Mendieta, and before she passed away and gave all of her the rights to museums and stuff, she actually said, you may not use my photos for anything. You may not reference my photos for anything. Her estate saw the teaser trailer with a bunch of imagery, specifically bound wrists and a bloody body, I want to say, under a sheet.
Yeah, it's this red silhouette of body on a bed sheet, yeah.
Yes. So they sued, and Amazon Studios said, okay, take them out. So those shots were removed from all the promotional material as well as the film as well. But as I was reading, I was like, hey, that's not cool. And then I read, of course, this movie's referencing lots of stuff. So I'm like, okay, I guess it's okay if the artist wants to protect their work, whatever. How dare you? Susie rises in the ranks of the dancers very quickly. She becomes Madame Blanc's favorite, and she's trying to get her to do this dance of something called Volk. This and Patricia's disappearance angers Olga. Olga is way too old to be at the school. No, I'm just joking. This is from a guy who watches a lot of slasher movies where all the teenagers are played by 30-year-olds.
Yeah, exactly.
But Olga is played by Elena Fokina, who is incredible.
Yeah.
But she's like almost my age, and I'm struggling to do a lot of the moves that she does. only now, and I'm in my late to early 90s. No, she's wonderful. She's freaking wonderful. It just she looks like she's tired.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna cut that.
I know that could be misconstrued, but I know what you mean. It's like you can tell, like just she's just had enough, hasn't she?
Yeah. So so Olga flips out. She was very close with Patricia, and so the rumor is that Patricia was not, murdered by witches or whatever, spirited away by witches. She probably ran off with the RAF and is blowing up shit with petrol bombs, which Madame Blanc is not judging. She's just saying that's what she's into. That's very, very good, because bombs are great. Patricia tells everybody to fuck off, and then she runs out. She tries to leave. God bless her. But she does not get to leave. And in a scene that is frickin' impossible not to, at the very least, cringe. Oof. And I don't mean like a hipster cringe. I mean like, holy shit.
Man.
She gets killed elated by invisible forces. Basically, Susie's doing this dance and performing this ritual, and she doesn't know it, or seemingly doesn't know it. She's being used to channel power into killing Olga. Unfortunately, she doesn't kill her. She just mangles her body.
I think I probably told you before I even saw this film, this was the kind of part, because you remember they showed the scene, I think, at a convention after they served lunch, and a few people bolted for the door, and I read about it. And being somebody who is generally quite squeamish, in kind of real life terms anyway, and also kind of gifted with kind of maybe more of an imagination that's good for them. I read some of the reports about this scene, and I actually had to go down at one point and lie on the floor for about 5-10 minutes, because it actually, seriously, it actually knocked me sick. I thought, oh God, I don't think I'm ready for this. So I actually kind of put off watching it for a while, partly because of that, and also because amazing. Of the expectation of, and it wasn't as bad as, I mean, it is rough. But because, your imagination is always worse, it was like, and I don't think it helped before, like, it starts when Madame Blanc says to Susie before she starts and says, if you feel ill at any time, you can stop. I thought, when I was first watching, it's like, well, thank you for telling me that I have a pause and a stop button.
They're warning the audience.
Yeah, totally.
That's how I feel about the new Bad Boys movie. The reports are making me nauseous. I have to go lie on the floor.
Oh, boy.
So the witches come in. All our beautiful matrons come in. And they use the hooks that were a huge part of the hype for this movie, which is these long, curved hooks, these silver hooks. And they just embed these hooks into her and drag her body out.
And I love how, again, like say, possibly getting to be my favourite character in this flipping movie, just saying something, Vendergast says, be careful, don't hurt Olga.
Well, it's the thing is they're casting a spell. I believe she's casting a spell to take her pain away, to make it, taking pity on her, I think.
Yeah, because there is that, and that's, again, something that makes this film so interesting. There is that kind of weird dynamic, kind of like in a family, I suppose, of like things being, well, never mind borderline abusive, like beyond, but still there's that kind of strange maternal kind of care there still, apparently. Or
well, you treat animals better than that when you're going to eat them. Around this time, Dr. Klemperer decides he should look into Patricia's disappearance. And he has her notebooks. She left all of her belongings behind. And so he starts to do a little investigation. I can't remember, does he talk to Sarah first, or does he go to the police first?
I may have the chronology mixed up, despite, and a little peek behind the curtain here. I, folks, have watched this film 3 times in the last 3 weeks, all on a Friday, as kind of part of research for this, and I regret nothing. But anyway, despite having done this, and it might be because of too much Anton time, I don't know.
Nice.
So flashing back there. I'm not sure, but I want to say I'm pretty sure they go to the police first, and then he sees Sarah later on. But I could have it asked backwards there. So that was a really convoluted answer to a very simple question.
No, I don't. Oh my God, I love it. You're quite a gentleman.
Oh, I certainly am.
While he's investigating, goes to the police, and we'll talk about dicks later. But he has lunch with Sarah, and she can't believe any of this shit. She's like, the school is the most benevolent force in my life. There's no way there's anything suspicious going on. How dare you? She can't even finish the meal. She's so appalled by what he's suggesting, so she leaves. The cops he goes to, we get to see one of them's dongle. We'll get to that. The police come to question, because he tells them, like, well, what if these are witches? And they're like, you believe in witches? He's like, it's not if I believe. What if they believe? Like, what are these people capable of if they believe? So the cops come out, and at the same time that Sarah's doing some snooping in the files, Susie hears laughter coming from one of the offices, like a little storage area in the offices of the dance academy. So she sneaks through, where she sees the cops hypnotized by 3 or 4 of the witches. One of them has his arms just straight out, like a somnambulist, like a sleepwalker. I don't know why I translated my own word. And then the other one just has his pants down, and they're playing with his gun, and then they're playing with his other gun by pointing at it with one of those awesome hooks. And this became a thing with me, Marky, and Carrie. We saw like 3 movies in a row where there was just penises. Because male nudity is still like something you don't really see in an everyday theater. So we saw Midsummer.
Oh, right.
We saw Hereditary, and this, like, not in a row, but, we just, every time there's a penis, we'd all just look at each other like, here we are again. Back at Dick Theater.
And there's another one which I say same year. And I just think this is just so perfect, because to me these are probably my 2 favourite films of this year. I think this and Mandy both have scenes of women laughing in the face of the patriarchy with his dick out.
Man, I tried to see Mandy in the theater, but I don't think it did. I don't think it came here.
That's a shame.
Hopefully Color Out of Space will get a little bit more distribution.
Yeah, totally. Fingers crossed.
Now, this was a clue here for Susie fans that she might be a little weird.
Oh, yeah, her reaction, yeah.
Her reaction to this is she just laughs. She thinks it's funny, and she doesn't say a fucking word to Sarah about it.
Hey, you know how you think people are weird here? By the way, they're fucking weird. No.
No, she just takes it all in stride, which is a clue that something's going on with this girl. But a lot of her weirdness is chalked up to her upbringing and how she's like a babe in the woods.
Yeah, exactly.
This has got to be a complete bonkers situation where anything could be normal to her.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wish more people would point at my genitals with a poker. That's your patriarchy ridiculed, folks.
Yep.
Sorry about it.
Smash it.
Oh, man. Don't fondle, just smash. So...
Oh, boy. Yeah, a lot of, things I love in this film. It's a little moments, like I've got right after this, when Blank's bringing Susie more into kind of the centre of, the dance, and says, I want you to kind of improvise, the centre of this and that bit. It's just a tiny little moment, but I love how Madame Blanc, she just kicks these fucking chairs right out of the way.
Yes!
Against the wall before she pulls the curtains. Like you say, she just owns that flipping place, doesn't she?
She owns the fucking everything. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so good. This is when, I think around the time Sarah finds the secret entrance in the all-glass room, and she kind of like finds this is after the one witch slashes her own throat.
Yes, yeah, and it's kind of been building that, hasn't it? But it still kind of comes out of fucking nowhere, and I love because I don't know what's been played on the radio, but this kind of really kind of, more upbeat kind of music on the radio, it makes it almost kind of comical, I think.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this is Miss Griffith, who you pointed out was played by Sylvia Testud. She has been mumbling to herself and looking terrified, and I think that there's a connection with her and Patricia, or she has a connection to Olga.
Yeah.
Olga getting done so badly was maybe what pushed her over the edge finally.
And you wonder whether she was kind of a witness, I suppose, of nothing else there, but it's curious how, because how before what happens to Olga starts, she's got like this, almost like tears, but it don't look like like they're coming just out of her eyes, almost maybe like out of parts of her skin. And
Yes.
then, you see Miss Griffith, she's clearly kind of like weeping, while all this is going on and building up.
Their power is manifested in very strange ways, and I think she can't help but be a part of this whole evil that they're doing.
Yeah, and she, I suppose, realizes this is her only way out, I guess.
Sarah sees something. She peeks through a door and sees something. Now she knows that they're witches, and she takes one of those hooks back to good old Dr. Klemperer to show him like evidence that, holy shit, some bad shit's going on. But they're going to go ahead with Volk, and as they're getting ready for this big dance, I'm probably skipping some stuff, but we got to move along here.
Oh, well, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
They're moving along. The whole movie's moving along. They're getting ready for the big dance. Very, very important that Susie be in perfect physical condition. There's all these montages or just scenes of her training with Madame Blanc and lots of very obtuse dialogue that could either be about Susie revealing her powers or they could just be about dance. She keeps talking about being rooted to the earth, but I think that she's actually she's alluding to the power of the witches is underneath them. In the form of Madame Blanc, or, as we'll find later, just death itself is always nearby.
There was something I noticed yesterday, which I've been wondering about since my rewatch before that, about the whole kind of ground thing and, how she's pulled there as opposed to Madame Blanc, wants her to do these jumps and get her in the air. And she gets, let's look this up, is it Caroline, to demonstrate. And I wondered about this at first, because, she has that seizure. Like an epileptic fit.
Yeah.
Before that, there's kind of a look that it's not from Susie, it's from, I think, Madame Blanc, and then Caroline looks really worried. And then after that, as they're walking out, she has a seizure. I think almost maybe that Susie's done this to sort of say, no, we're all going on the floor. Don't fucking, don't mess with my plan,
I like that. So Sarah, when she meets with Dr. Klemperer again, when she's leaving, she's spotted by Madame Tanner.
Oh, I love this. And it's that, again, speaking of paranoia, that kind of, because she sees her and then it's just another little old lady who looks like her, but it really leaves you in that state of doubt of like, well, who was it? Or maybe Miss Tanner is using this little old lady as a conduit to see her, because we've already established they can like see through walls or like astral project or, like all of the above.
And it just bleeds into that communism and into the whole tone of the whole thing, that there literally are eyes everywhere. You cannot trust anyone.
No.
Right at the night of the big dance, when everyone's going to do their big thing, their big dealie, Sarah decides to go back to this. She knows everybody will be at the dance, so she decides to sneak down into this inner sanctum thing again, where she finds Patricia, as well as another dancer that these witches have been feeding off of. Patricia don't look good, yo.
Nope.
It's the makeup is so transformative, this horrific makeup. They could have just switched and had another actress playing Chloe Grace Moretz, because it's so frickin', I guess I already said the word transformative.
Yeah. It's like flipping Reagan and The Exorcist, who's been left out in the sun far too long or something.
Left in a bathtub for 30 years.
Oh, God, yeah.
So sexy. So she tries to rescue Patricia, and then this other girl they're feeding off, her feet are cut off, which is bonkers.
Yep.
She freaks out and tries to leave, and then the witches are doing spells, or they're casting something, or is the dance begun? The dance has begun.
Yeah, the dance has begun, but some of them, I guess, because, after Sarah breaks a leg, after all those kind of...
They show up.
Yeah, quite soon after. So I think they've kind of been, know what's up.
These holes start appearing in the floor, and she doesn't see them in time, and she steps into one and breaks her leg.
Ouch.
Which apparently dancers don't like to do that?
Nope.
Whatever. What a little baby. No, it's fucking horrific.
Oh,
and so they heal the wound just by closing it. They just wave their hand. The witches wave their hand over it, closing the wound. And then they hypnotize her to send her in to the dance, which is already going on, to play her part. And of course, Dr. Klemperer has been invited because these witches, they want a witness. They very specifically need, for their ritual to work, a witness. So they've used him. The dance goes great. ha, and then it completely breaks down when Sarah just starts screaming, I think. Culminates in this insanity, and she collapses, and they rush her out, and then the dance is canceled, and then Dr. Klemperer finds his wife.
Yeah.
After 30 years, after she got disappeared during World War II, and it's the aforementioned Jessica Harper, and they go for a little stroll, because he's always going over the border back to his house. The little house they had together.
Yeah.
And he goes back there after the dance because he's just shaken by what he's seen. And he goes back there and he finds his wife waiting for him, who he thought was dead. And he's fucked. He's so screwed.
Oh boy. Yeah, just like flipping... this whole part of the movie. I mean, and even if, like, you debate of, like, how everything fits together, just even on its own, just flipping tears my heart out, man. Especially, I remember the first time I saw this, and, she, after, telling him about her new life and, what had happened and so on and so forth, when he's kind of guided by her back to the academy, and she disappears, and those two of the witches come screaming out of fucking nowhere. That absolutely flipped my fucking brain upside down the first time I watched it. It's like, oh my God.
Yep. That in the theater was because it was so quiet and so sweet.
Yes.
And all of a sudden the dread starts to creep in. You're like, oh, here we go. And while he's having his date with his wife, we get one of my favorite scenes in this movie. Probably one of my favorite scenes in like the last decade of film is all the witches go out to dinner to celebrate. Even though Volk was, I guess, not a horrible disaster, they go out to dinner at this restaurant, and the witches are all just creepily fondling, touching, being not like in a not in a sexual way, but in a powerful way, like just draining these girls, and all of them look disturbed by it, but are kind of playing along because they're like, well, I guess this is okay.
And plus they've been, when they get there, Tanner's like, oh, you can eat and drink as much as you want, we're not expecting you to put out later or anything, as it were.
Bazinga, my friend.
Yeah.
That's a quote from young Sheldon. So, I have no idea. The only people who aren't participating in this are... I'm sorry, I'm laughing at my own joke before I even make it. Madame Blanc and frickin' Susie are staring at each other from the heads of the table, which is interesting because Susie very specifically is like, I'm sitting at the head of the table.
Yes.
I love that. And they're staring at each other, and you can just hear Let's Get It On playing in the background. See, that's my dumb joke I was laughing at. It's so dumb. I'm such an idiot.
Oh, that's good.
But yeah, like, the tension between them, oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, and you can just read kind of, suppose, so much into this of kind of, just questioning what is going on there, because they're not... Oh, it's like that earlier dinner scene. I quite like that, when the girls are watching from outside and they're all kind of seemingly laughing and, eating and drinking and all that, but they're having that second conversation psychically.
Yes.
And all that. I love that. But there's none of that here. It's just simply the look and the kind of track or zoom in. And yeah, that shot is just like a few of these, but that one especially, it's like become, in my brain, kind of iconic already, that like back and forth. But I hadn't, again, sort of noticed until yesterday when, because Susie sat there and then we see Madame Blanc watching and her eyes kind of move like Susie's got up and left. And the way it's shot, it's almost like as Susie just fucking disappeared.
Yes, I thought that too. It's so good. So Susie goes back to the school, and she's just stripping as she's walking through the whole place, just leaving articles of clothes like a trail behind her. And you kind of think, oh, Madame Blanc's going to follow her. But no, this is very different. She's preparing for the big ritual, what this whole thing has really all been about, which is Helena Marcos, our sexy-ass matriarch of the whole thing. She is going to consume Susie to live another lifetime. So she's trying to stay forever young, like the Rod Stewart song. And grow an extra arm on each shoulder, like you do. Susie enters the most bonkers frickin' scene. Man, this is so over the top. Now, I will complain about one thing in the coming chaos, Simon. The way that the film has been filmed at a certain rate, at a certain frame rate, and then sped up, it reminds me of the really irritating Saw editing from the movie Saw, where they film something really slow, speed it up. This is less irritating. It's definitely jarring, but it's meant to be jarring. It's meant to be otherworldly. I'm not a fan of that style.
Fair enough.
But what's about to happen is like when you order a cheeseburger and they're like, oh, do you want the special or do you want everything? And you're like, oh, I guess I'll get everything. And that's when they put a corn dog, hot dogs, potato chips, pour a milkshake over the top of it, an entire jar of salsa, and a baked Alaska on top of the burger. Like, it's the most loaded sandwich ever built. Like, it's like...
It's reminding me of the... what was it? The flipping Good Morning Burger or something from The Simpsons, which just looks like a fucking... It looks like the sort of thing, both those things, like you should have a defibrillator given to you by the staff.
This is like mixing drinks. This is like you've been drinking whiskey all night and you decide to switch between whiskey to tequila to rum to vodka to brandy back to whiskey. Like it's much. Won't say too much. It's just much. This whole sequence is fucking crazy. But Madame Blanc is so head over heels. Or just, I mean, now it could be possible she's not in love with Susie. Could be possible. Yeah. That she hasn't been bewitched in a sexual way. That this could be her, like literally a mother figure.
I think so, yeah. That's how I read it. Yeah, it seems kind of...
I feel like there's this erotic tension between them because I'm a dude and I probably want that. Whatever. Cool. But just whatever she tries to give Susie an out. She's like, you don't have to do this. I can make you forget and you can walk away. And Mother Marcos is like, bitch, stop. Like, like the way she reacts is just cementing this whole like, no, dude, like, stop letting your feelings get in the way of this. This is, you were already outvoted. I'm the queen. Piss off. Do your part. But what the surprise they're in for, with all of the naked gyrating that's happening, is that Susie has her own plans for how this ritual is going to end.
Yeah.
So we have Tilda Swinton in three parts. She's playing Madame Blanc. She's playing a very sexy, naked Dr. Klemperer. Hey, folks. I think he's uncut.
Wow.
Before I forget, one thing I love that apparently, even aside from the scene, but for the whole thing, I think she was wearing the prosthetic penis. For all the scenes. So it makes sense. So you could kind of, because it's going to affect you. And she's just got that old man walk down just so brilliantly.
I do that walk now, and I'm still old.
Oh, I hear you.
And then, of course, she's playing Helena Marcos, too. So you have this Tilda Swinton overload, which I love hearing people complain about that. Or like, why did Tilda Swinton have to play 3 roles? I'm like, because she could have played 25 roles. It would have been great.
Damn straight. And before I forget, I was looking recently at, I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name, but Luca's other films. And I forgot about this, that Simcoe McLaughlin had been working with him for a short from last year called The Staggering Girl, 35 minutes long, which is weird, just like converse, they polar opposite to this. But as Julianne Moore, Mia Goth, and this blew my fucking mind, but it's so perfect, Cal MacLachlan in 3 roles. Linking back to, you guessed it, I don't even need to say, do I?
Oh my god.
TNG, y'all.
I love it. That's so good. So the embodiment of death shows up. Mm-hmm. Which is Susie's mother. This is an actress named Malgorzata Bella, and she is from Poland, and she's very striking. This woman was chiseled out of stone. She just looks like a model. She's a really interesting lady. Yeah, we saw her earlier in the movie. She's the one who was dying, but she's actually like taking the spirit of death into her.
Yes.
They show her talking about her daughter on the deathbed, talking about her daughter, like, I've given you my daughter, or something. I brought her into this world.
Oh, she says something like, she's the stain I smeared on the world.
Thank you. I need to watch this as many times as you have, and I'll be ready.
I'm still not ready.
As evidenced by our discussion, we were definitely underprepared.
Oh, boy.
No, she shows up as Death, and I really love this. It feels like Luca Guadagnino really, took what Argento was doing in Inferno. Like, this feels like partly Inferno tacked onto the end of Suspiria to me, because the makeup, and look for the behind the scenes photos if you can of her in the death getup.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. It's nightmare fuel, to quote our dear friend Simon of the podcast, who's here with us today.
Oh, well, thank you.
Hey, no, not you. It's the other Simon.
Oh, yeah. No, doppelganger.
Your pregnant twin.
The one that's might be played by Tilda Swinton.
That's the real spoiler of this episode. We're all Tilda.
Yep.
The ritual goes to shit, which is amazing. Instead of just making the witches wither, fall over, and die, oh, no. Their heads are exploding. Helena Marcus, her head doesn't explode, but she gets like ripped in half. But then Madame Blank nearly gets decapitated by Helena Marcos. And all shit goes shitty. And just blood everywhere. Naked women writhing. And then the lights have gone red. Everything's red. Frickin' Dr. Klemper is just screaming. I want to talk about his thing. Real quick, that the witch is using him, like using his memories to get him. Blaming him for his wife being taken by telling him, you had months to get out, you stupid man. Like, it's your fault she's dead. And he's screaming, I'm innocent, I didn't do it, like, I didn't know, da-da-da-da. He's just got a front row seat to the hottest show in town, bitches.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, like, hellish hot or something. So, while all the heads are exploding, all the witches who voted for Marcos, they are all gonna die. Susie has a chest vagina. She opens up her heart to show us her heart. And inside her chest is just this weird, molten flesh breathing thing.
Somewhat almost like kind of Lovecraftian almost about it.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
hard to explain.
It's just disturbing as shit.
Yeah, totally.
You gotta hand it to frickin' Dakota Johnson, man. She committed to this frickin' role. She really went for it. I mean, she studied ballet for a long time to prepare for this role. She even claimed that she needed therapy after this movie was over, how fucked up it was.
I suppose you have to be, well, ideally, to be a good actor or actress, be somebody who's very porous and is going to take all that stuff in. So I imagine you carry it around for a bit afterwards.
Well, I know a lot of hipsters had to go to therapy after they heard this movie was being made.
Oh man, they were butthurt, weren't they? But sorry, we're getting ahead of ourselves, aren't we?
So this all culminates with Susie coming out. This is her coming out party as the mommy Suspiria. And now she kind of sets things right. So she lets Dr. Klemperer go, and then she also kind of starts the school from scratch. So the surviving witches who are forced to clean up all the exploded heads, which is great. Then she starts just double downing on feeding off these girls, like giving them the nightmares, taking from them. She doesn't seem to be, I hate to say benevolent, but it doesn't seem as evil as what Marcos was doing. It seems, it's not good, but it doesn't seem like these girls are gonna waste away like the others did.
Yeah, I mean, well, I suppose they're given a choice, at least. She asks, what do you want,
Yeah.
And they'll say
Death.
to die. It's like, okay, happy to oblige.
And that's the thing that is a direct frickin' through line between the two films is these witches, they're feeding on them even after death. Like they're brought to the point of death and then they're still like taking, and they can never be satiated. They're always, if you look at what's happened to Patricia and you look at what they're doing to Sarah, they're literally just draining them of their life force, turning them into these husks of their former selves. So, after Dr. Klemper gets hilariously let go by the one mother. Who was the one? Was that
it's good old Vendergast again, yeah. So now, this wonderful moment, goes outside, she's got blood on her mouth, snowing, it's like, oh, everything is pretty.
What a performance. What a performance. She's just glad to be alive, too. It's so cute. But she tells him to go home, and he goes home, and he's having his breakfast, and Susie shows up, and he thinks she's going to kill her, but she's like, we need your shame. No, we need shame, but not your shame. And makes him forget, but not before she tells him what happened to his wife.
Oh, boy, yeah.
And the guilt that he rightly should feel for foolishly not getting out when they could. And that his wife was taken to a work camp, they forced all of the women in the camp to stand outside for several hours where she was overcome by the cold and died. And it was just, oh my God, this whole sequence.
Yeah, man.
She makes him forget, and then you see what looks like him having a stroke or having a heart attack, but that was just the memories being exorcised out of him. And he barely even knows who his house, his maid or whatever, barely even knows who she is. So who knows what really happened to that character afterwards.
Yeah.
We find out that Madame Blanc is not dead, which is insane.
Yeah.
Her head is almost severed.
So I just push the head back on, yeah.
Yeah, her head is almost severed, and she takes in a breath, and it scares the witch, like, oh, shit. Miss Tanner's completely traumatized. She's forgotten to wipe the blood off her face. She's just sitting where she was sitting at the beginning of the movie, just sitting there, like, in shock. Oh, it's so good. And you can kind of tell where she's like, what is even going on now? Is this how the school's going to be? Like, oh, it's so good. But after the credits, we see Susie come back and do something. What was she doing there?
Well, I wonder because before the credits, the very last shot of the film, it's the only bit, as far as I can tell, that is set in modern times. I'm guessing somebody's on like a mobile phone. You see somebody, I only caught this on one of my last viewings, are carrying a book, which I believe is, I had this written down somewhere, The Great Mother by Eric Neumann or Neumann. I'm not sure you pronounce that. He's basically just kind of tracks in on we've seen earlier the heart, with was it Anchor and Joseph, or the A and J written on it. So I'm wondering if after the credits thing is Susie touching that, because you see Klemperer put his hand over it at one point. So whether there's some kind of connection there, or it could be something totally different. I really don't know.
Yeah, I also thought maybe she was going back to the wall where all the pictures of all the staff were.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'm not sure where she is even. The last time I watched it, I was paying attention and it didn't help me.
I'm pretty sure she's outside at least, so that, so I hope now I don't. Oh dear.
Uh-oh. The kitten's in trouble. She's getting on stuff. She's a little monster. So that's the plot as seen by two amazing white males.
Hi, how you doing? Hey.
So now that our patriarchies have been smashed, I have some trivia here, an overwhelming amount of trivia. So if I start to just lose my shit, just put me down. Just have me put down. I love this bit of trivia. At 2 hours and 32 minutes, the remake of Suspiria is nearly an hour longer than the original.
So thank you for that. That was very edifying.
Wow. And this was going to be even longer, apparently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this was supposed to be over 3 hours from what I heard about it, and they cut it down to the manageable length of 2 hours and 32 minutes.
Of course. So one thing, firstly about trivia, you may have this there, but and I neglected to talk. Everybody in this, from like cast and crew, just brings their A game as far as I'm concerned. And I just love how beautifully choreographed everything is between, the staging, the directing, the blocking, the camera work, what have you, through to the editing. We said about the sound design. Just definitely, one, if you've got good speakers or headphones, one to, is really going to help you, kind of sink more into this. But, the editor as well. Yeah, they deserve, mad props as well. And this blew my mind, this bit of trivia. It's Walter Fasano, who's an Italian editor. Now, aside from, I think, editing some of Luca's other films, he has a few writing credits, including, this blew my fucking mind, has an uncredited screenplay credit on Mother of Tears.
That's right, I read that. I was like, what? I thought he'd edited Mother of Tears, but no, he fucking, it's so good. See, there's your Argento connection.
And he did, he did edit Mother of Tears as well.
Oh, that's so cool.
And a few, Do You Like Hitchcock, the card player.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah.
Thank you for picking that up. That's awesome.
No problem.
The maggot scene of the original film was not used, but there's a shot where in one of Susie's dreams, there's a few worms that fell on her face as she's looking up. Oh my God.
Yes, brilliant.
Hello?
Hello, my name is... We're conducting a brief opinion survey, and you will get $50 for participating if you qualify. I'd like to speak to Lita Schimmin.
I'm afraid I can't talk because of the oven. It is definitely on fire. Please have a wonderful day. She's a good sport. I liked her.
I love how she pronounced Lietta's name. You got to play that back to Lietta or something.
I will. That was Lietta Scamidit. She actually got the name closer. The first name is better. She pronounced that better than the last. Scamidit. I haven't heard that in a long time. Oh, it's beautiful.
Scamidit happens.
I hope she has a good day.
Yeah. Oh, so this location was this Grand Hotel Campo de Fiora in Varese. Apparently they started shooting on Halloween.
Nice.
Which is just fucking perfect. And through till concluding in December, and they picked up a bit more in March next year. Production's first assistant director broke his leg early into the shoot, which is just fucked up, but perfect in a weird sort of way. So yeah, like I say, it was shot on 35mm film. Some more technical stuff here. Yeah, to achieve 70s style effects, it uses slow motion and numerous camera zooms, including recurrent use of snap zooms. Like I say, I fucking love all of that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've totally like, yeah.
No, please. I love that this is filmed on 35mm. That's so perfect. Nice.
I think I use the word perfect a lot because everything really is perfect.
I watched the featurettes on the Blu-ray, which I think they're on YouTube as well, and they were just kind of promotional little things, but I'm glad I watched them. And one thing that brought home how perfect that decision was to shoot it on film is just how different it looks they must be presumably, shooting the featurettes on digital or what have you, and just how different everything looks. Because of that. So, they just nailed it, like say, for the period effect. So, yeah, like you said, they were opting for a more muted colour palette. And I've not seen any of this guy's films. I really should do, but they talk a lot about Michael Ballhaus's work for Fassbinder, being kind of a reference point. And,
I've seen some Fassbinder.
Yeah, I believe, was it Ingrid Caven who's saying she was married to him, I think, for a number of years and was in a lot of his films.
Nice.
And, saying there's also the work of a modernist artist called Baltus, which if you look at that up on Google, that's just some kind of interesting paintings right there, to put it mildly. The choreographer is a guy called Damien Jallet. Yeah, it was interesting watching, again, one of these weird little kind of synchronicities, because he showed some friends, I think, or some dancers, or people he was working with, Suspiria, as a kind of inspiration for something he did called Les Medusas, the Bewitched at the Louvre. And this was, I think, one of the things that led Luca to call him, so that all kind of came together. Oh, we've not talked about the soundtrack. My God, yeah, Tom York,
we're leading up to that.
So yeah, we can get into that a bit more. I suppose here. So his first feature film soundtrack, this was after some pestering, I think, from Luca, and features the London Contemporary Orchestra and Choir and his son Noah on drums.
Nice.
Which I thought was really sweet.
Cool. It's a family affair.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about the lawsuit, and that's all my trivia. And then I have, for afterwards, I have some hot takes for you from a thing called the internet.
Well, the elephant in the room is the other person, the fourth character that Tilda Swinton played, named Tom York.
Yeah.
No, the score for this film is something that I've been excited about since they announced that he was involved in it. Now, I'm not a big Radiohead fan. I like a handful of songs, and then I like Kid A and Amnesiac.
Yeah.
I kind of treat those as one album because when they were talking about them at the time, they were going to be this, and I've always just loved that era of the band. And I get a little overwhelmed by their career. They're a lot,
Oh man, yeah.
But and now that they're doing all their solo stuff, it's like, but no, I was really down with him playing or him composing this score. And coincidentally, I got the vinyl in the mail yesterday.
Perfect.
Got the hot pink double record, very reasonably priced.
Nice.
And it's just a gorgeous freaking set. What do you call it? It's a matte finish, like a paper stock. It's not like a glossy or a paper or whatever. It's really pretty.
Nice.
But his music score is fantastic for this movie. Oh my God. And the stuff that feels like a Radiohead song is great. The stuff he sings on is great. I like it a lot. But I also really love what he did with the orchestra. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Like the stuff he wrote for them, I think he's one of those guys who doesn't know how to read music. I forget. He has like a working method that's eerily similar to mine, in that I'm like, I don't know what notes I just played.
Nice.
That's for you to figure out.
Had a, yeah, exactly. He had a good quote actually in I think it was for like, one of the BBC radio channels, or you can find this on YouTube. He's been interviewed and they talk at one point, this is more like in a general context of like, just throw away the instruction manual, just get started,
Yes, exactly. So before we do our hot take session here, where we talk about some of the more spirited reviews of the film, how do you like this one, Simon?
Oh, man. Yeah. At this point, even like a couple of viewings in, I was totally on board because without going into all of it, I was very conflicted after my first viewing. I did not really know how I felt about it. I was, as I said to you, kind of like that heart on the wall, it's kind of split down the middle about it. Of like, there was stuff I loved about it, but there was stuff I wasn't sure whether, I don't want to say hated, but I was like really unsure about. Yeah, I didn't know what to make of it fully, so I just knew I had to watch it again. Glad I did. And by like third viewing, I was like, yeah, I think I love this. And now I think I've seen it
Nice.
6 times overall, and yeah, definitely one of my favourite films, horror otherwise, of like the last probably 20, 30 years already. I just think everything's just, I don't want to say perfect, there are some things like still now I wrestle with, and these are things that are not in a bad way, like during the finale, and there's a couple of moments throughout maybe where you're kind of like, is this potentially crossing or bordering into camp, perhaps? Yeah. Like some of the end.
You could say that about the finale, yeah, I could see that.
Oh, totally,
it makes me uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, which I think is, it's got to be totally the point, right? It's got to be jarring some, kind of deep feelings and like subconscious kind of feelings loose. I think is part of the point. So yeah, I think they very much succeeded there. But yeah, not camped to the point of. I've seen a few people without getting ahead of ourselves here who compared it to Showgirls.
Yes. Oh my God, that's weird. Okay, perfect. So you and Tyler kind of had a similar reaction to it, where I think Tyler, friend of the show, an occasional Doom Show guest, I really think he struggled with it too at first, how he felt about it, and then a couple more viewings, he really cemented that he loved it. But yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
As for me, I'm a big fan of the overwhelming films, emotionally overwhelming.
Yes, me too.
This and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 are the kinds of movies where it's over and I'm like drained. Like, what have I been through?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
You feel like flipping, I imagine Klemperer, when he's leaving after the witnessing the flipping ritual.
But I would not have my pants on. I would still be swinging.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck it.
I love how the dread and the paranoia, you're cursed before you start. I love the mundane evil of the Berlin Wall. I love the witches have this sanctuary from all that, but even they are feeding on the youth. I love the little touches, like how there's a scary sequence where when Patricia leaves, when she's going through her paranoid delusion, there's this figure in black with long hair waiting at the door. And it's supposed to be Mr. Berger, who is one of Klemperer's clients, but it could be one of the witches waiting there. You can't see their face. All you see is a figure with long hair. Also, Berger is the name of the person who was running the camp that got his wife killed.
Oh, shit.
So this guy that he's freaking doing therapy for could even be like the child of that fucking guy who was...
That's fucked.
Yeah. I just caught that. I probably would not have caught that without having a second viewing. Hopefully there'll be more details like that. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
The quote that related to all that I was talking about earlier, the quote is, "Why is everyone so ready to think the worst is over?"
Yes.
That line scared the shit out of me in that theater. That line has haunted me ever since I heard it, and it's so true of the political climate of the time, the political climate now, and just the state of the world, the environment, just everything, nuclear war, all that shit is like, it just encapsulates everything bad about that era and how the shit wasn't over. It made me think of all the terrible shit that happened to like Bosnia and like all the stuff that was about to start in the 80s and 90s, just so much worse. I love that this movie's about the folly of men, that all the male characters are deluded, foolish, guilty. And I love that the real power behind it all is death and witches and like all that heady brew of like what witchcraft could be if it's used for evil. There's always some lower level, something worse than what you're experiencing, something more powerful behind it, underneath it. And last rant, 2 things. One, I love that this was Luca Guadagnino's follow-up to an Oscar-winning movie.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful. And then I love that although Argento has said this movie sucks, he hated it, he and Nickelodeon gave it its best gift in that the mythical quality of the third mothers. That's why his fans lost their fucking minds when he he waited 27 years to go back and finish the third mother thing.
Yeah,
when you watch Suspiria Inferno, they become so big to you. Like you're letting your imagination work against or for you to make these witches like so epic, which is why I'm a fan of the third mother, the film. But I will give people credit for it was disappointing. It was not what I wanted, but
I still think Brad's analogy about Star Wars for that was just so fucking perfect. You know, what was it? Even the years kind of fit. If he was saying it was like, Star Wars Suspiria 77, Inferno, Empire 80, and then it's like, what did he say? Imagine if George Lucas had waited like 27 years to make the next film. It would be, it would just people wouldn't be able to handle it, would they?
Yeah. I can't wait to watch Third Mother again. It's been too long. But anyway.
Me too, man. Me too.
Speaking of things that people love, let's talk about these. Let's talk about some people's reactions to Suspiria before we close out the show here. In an effort to record an episode exactly as long as the movie.
Yep.
You've done some research, sir.
I've been looking at reviews from Amazon, mostly. I got 1 or 2 from IMDb, and I think maybe 1 from Letterboxd. I will let you decide what to edit from here, because a lot of this I skim read. I just kind of on instinct, I just copied and pasted things that stuck out. A lot of it I just couldn't read at all. And eventually I had to stop because, as I said to you, I felt it was giving me actual brain damage reading it. So here we go. Let me better take a big gulp of water before this. Probably something stronger, really, but one moment.
And I will say, folks, it is not a crime to dislike this film. I totally get people who don't like this film. No probs at all.
Yeah.
But the reactions were outstanding. So, with that preface, let's do this.
That's it. So, from Amazon. The director of this food. Oh God, I've given the punch away already. The director of this film should be working at a fast food establishment.
So true.
Yeah. I bet he'd make a very nicely presented looking meal. I have no doubt of that.
An overwhelming sandwich, as I alluded to before.
Well, exactly. Oh, hey-oh. This is a paragraph, Jesus. So, and I'm going to try and do justice to any of the punctuation or lack of it. So, God,
please do.
Just watched it, and yes, indeed, it's confusing. There is nothing intellectual about it. Story lacks cohesion, and if you say it does not, and it's anything else, you're as pretentious as this crap of a movie is, and most likely you don't understand what the hell is going on either, but you want to sound smart, so you'll defend it. I sat through Hereditary and The Witch, loved them, and Irreversible happens to be one of my all-time favourite movies.
Yikes.
So I can appreciate Art House. I don't care that it's a remake. I watched it for what it was. And what it is to me is a bunch of ideas thrown in by a director that thinks he's being artsy and esoteric. Don't even try to tell me that I, in quotes, don't get it. This style of storytelling needs to end. Make a film with a beginning, middle, and an end, with characters that you love to love and love to hate, and again, some kind of cohesion in block caps. Visuals were recycled from other films, fell asleep a few times, and no, I didn't miss anything worth seeing. That will become a theme.
That is a common thread, though, the whole, this is fake artsy. A lot of the people I know that hated it thought it was like pretentious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I wrestled with that at first. I really did. But, and I'm not going to argue that everything comes together. And like I said, I think all the RAF Bader Meinhof stuff is kind of more on the periphery, but that's part of kind of the atmosphere and does add to the kind of chaotic and kind of paranoid feeling of things. But yeah, no, I think like we said before, the kind of motherhood or motherhood gone wrong and fascism and, you know, how that, you know, becomes kind of like becomes almost as bad as the patriarchy and all these other things. But yeah, I think we've kind of said our piece on that. So yeah, I've come to terms with that. But right, deep breath, let's carry on. Oh wait, I didn't finish this person's missive there. So see it if you enjoy asking a lot of questions while the movie is playing. Like this one here, worst movie we have seen in years, block caps, melodramatic, pseudo, spelt without a P, avant-garde, guard spelt G-U-A-R-D, B-S.
Ooh, brutal.
Oh God, here's another paragraph. I'm going to have a headache by the end of this. Susmoronic, more like it. What a horrible pile of crap this film is. It is extremely pretentious and boring too. I could only make it through the first hour, don't know how I managed. Like with what many are saying, this film has no cohesion, no likeable characters, everything in this film. The women are ugly, the buildings are ugly, the story is ugly, the dialogue is ugly, and my goodness, those dancers were not dancing at all. The dancers look like retarded people flailing their arms around trying to hit something.
Oh, that's not nice.
I have never seen the original, so I don't know if that had pseudo-dancing in it. This all reminds me of modern art, where so-called artists draw literal circles and want to be taken seriously. Of course, some do, the so-called elite art people who circle joke each other while lying to themselves about how they get it. What's this, some kind of feminist movie? Is this why all the women are damn ugly? Is this why there is a scene where they are humiliating a man for no other reason that I can think of than to send a message to the viewers? Which message is that? That fictional witches can put a man who was just doing his job in his place? Again, my goodness, the women were ugly as it can get, LOL. Yeah, don't waste your time and try not to be friends with people that like this kind of crap. Wahahaha. This one is a bit shorter, thankfully. So here's why I'm writing a review for a film I didn't finish. I didn't actually write who... I certainly didn't credit who's written these, so I don't know if this next paragraph is from the same person. Maybe, maybe not. Anyway, this remake had the slowest start of any film in my memory, and I'm an old man. In fact, by the time the opening credits were over, I was so bored that I very nearly asked for my money back, and this film was free. The opening scenes were so boring, dull, droll, uninteresting, drawn out, pointless, dismal, and drab that I said to myself, if it's this bad now, how painful will it be later? I understand that his movie eventually became graphically gruesome, but not as gruesome as what I wanted to do to the editor of this film. The editor, though, the idiot didn't even realise the reality of decent filmmaking. If, in quotes, if the movie doesn't get your attention right away, it's never going to. The opening was so tedious that I didn't want to hang around long enough to find out if it would ever improve. I'll stick with the Dario Argento original in stunning Blu-ray.
Oh, hey, they complimented the Blu-ray company at the end. That's nice.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess, I don't know, something like even a stop clock tells the right time twice a day or something. Something like that. Right, next one. Wow, what a stupid, disgusting movie. I mean, I knew beforehand that it was going to be childishly profane, but this is beyond stupid. The undisguised hatred for anything divine, especially male, is off-putting to say the least, but celebrating the negative feminine is what disgusts me the most. Shows just how far Hollywood has gone off the rails into the realm of insanity and corruption. This world needs a good cleansing, and a great place to start would be in the world of entertainment, in quotes, with the kinds of people who make trash like this. I guess you were friends with the person who did the next review, which is just one line.
But hold on. He referred to the male as divine. Like, men are divine. Like, I got news for you. Boy.
Well, divine was a man, I guess, but like...
Oh, that's true. Holy shit. Bam. He was literally referencing John Waters. Yeah. No, I've walked by a mirror naked. I know. Nothing divine there, buddy.
Oh, doctor. So yeah, the person who wrote that last one, like I say, clearly friends with the person who wrote this next one-line one. Don't let your kids watch this disgusting Hollywood garbage. Following a theme, just 3 words here. Just say no.
This is your brain on the Suspiria remake.
I think we're getting to the end. Oh, thank God. Next one. This is like saying I love you before you cut the person's throat. Another intellectually artistic excuse for deviant sensuality.
Oh, man.
Last few from Amazon. And please, if you have any commentary on any of these again, please feel free to jump inside, take a breath.
Yes, absolutely. No, I'm just in shock. I agree with everyone.
Again, I feel like flipping Klemper at the end of that fucking ritual. Where are we? Right, hipster garbage turned a horror classic into an A-list pile of turds. Also ruined the soundtrack by having the guy from Radiohead do it. If you like a movie that barely pays attention to the audience, this is for you. ... Lots of scenes are hard to see. Sort your fucking TV out or turn the lights off. Sorry, that was me. But they make up for it by being hard to hear. Okay. What? Yeah, exactly. And last of the Amazon ones, I started this for one reason. Chloe, spelt wrong, B-R-A space E. What? Where did she gives go? That sick, SIC in brackets, all of this. What is the purpose of TH space E, useless vulgar language? I kept watching for storyline or something like plot. Failed. Doesn't say hashtag failed, sadly.
Oh, damn it!
Last line, and again, I'm reading this verbatim. I don't understand why of this. That's the end of the Amazon. Well, no, it's not the end of the Amazon 1-star reviews. There were about 200. I got through about 70 before my brain gave up. And that was like skim reading.
You're a glutton for punishment, my friend.
I fucking am. I really am. I have one from Letterboxd. Really weird Footloose remake. There were loads more, but I couldn't get through them.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. No, I want to see that. And last one from IMDb. I really don't have much to say. As I watched the very weird, gory ending, I wondered what would make actors choose to participate in such a horrid production. Money? Possession, which is truly the only explanation. It is messy, chaotic, but mostly just plain disturbing. I'm not sure why I watched it to the bitter end. Perhaps I was looking for something redeeming to happen. I was left disappointed and dismayed that such a sick mind or six minds exists. All involved need Jesus.
That is true.
And
that is unequivocally true, my friend.
Oh boy.
Man, thank you for your research. Those are great. And all right, they're all correct. Especially the ones that pointed out that this movie's like from Hollyweird. Holy shit, that's so great.
Oh man.
Honestly, like this is hilariously divisive. Hilariously divisive with people. And my favorites are the one word, like oof. The hipster oof, which there used to be the hipster meh. Now it's the hipster oof. And I actually dislike the hipster oof more because the oof makes you feel like the people involved should be embarrassed. Like the makers of the movie should be embarrassed. And the people who enjoy the movie should be embarrassed because they enjoyed an oof picture. But no, this has been a fantastic discussion, sir. I'm so glad we got to cover this thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, and again, it's a bit like, again, which we've mentioned Twin Peaks like half a dozen times already. It's one of those where it always feels a little, not frustrating. I suppose I've kind of got over that even after doing that epic, because there is so much to talk about. You just think, we could go on and on. But the last thing I will say is, I suppose, I really kind of hope in years to come this is kind of seen as one of those remakes that is up there with like, The Thing and The Fly as being one of those really great remakes. To me, it's kind of like that already.
Yeah. And these things can exist. And I do get frustrated and I do get remake burnout. But
yeah, man.
If you're going to do something weird with weird source material, then they nailed it.
Yeah, totally.
There's less war between... I perceive a war on Twitter or on social media in general of people who feel they're not allowed to criticize a film. That when they criticize a film, everyone jumps on them. And then there's also this camp of people who also feel like if they praise a film that other people hated, they get jumped on by the people who hated it. And so there's people who are afraid to criticize anything. Or feeling afraid to criticize anything. And there's people who feel afraid to praise something that everyone's criticizing. And it's like, well, no, just unfriend assholes. You're good to go. You can hate any film you want. You can rant about it. If I don't want to hear your rant, I'm going to mute the rant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because I do feel, a lot of times, I feel in my heart, like, I feel stupid for enjoying something like this because people who I respect are livid about that this film happened and that they wasted their time watching it. So I just feel like, ow, dude, I must be dumb that I, you know.
Yeah, people totally, and again on both sides make it personal. I've seen it on the other side as well of like people can, you know, feel stupid for not liking something. And there's a way to just, you know, discuss and debate without, you know, I feel like it's the same with, and I think I've shared this GIF in this context a few times on Facebook. So it's just so perfect, especially for this discussion. I feel like with those sorts of uncivilized just displays of I don't even fucking know what to call it, just a general uncivilized, not even debate or discussion, I'm sure there is a word, but or arguing or lecturing, or there's probably a perfect word here, but I can't, when I'm observing it, whether it's with film or with politics, I really feel like Susie, you know, where in the original Suspiria, in the snakes bit, while she's watching Sarah and Olga go, you know, sticking their tongues out going at each other, and she's just looking like, oh, can we not can we not?
That was the moment the internet was invented.
Absolutely.
No, hating a film and ranting and raving about it is fine. Praising a film is fine. It's just, don't expect people to be happy when you cross the line and start going for the, why would anyone watch this? You know, like that's when you're like, well, duh, we liked it. Leave it alone. Well,
exactly. I think, you know, again, going back to something polarizing, you know, like Twin Peaks or anything, I think a lot of these things, you know, it could be down to like, you could maybe even do it in a way to like take a personality test to see if you will like a film, or I don't know, look at what type of star sign you are, or I don't a lot of it really is mood, temperament, life experience. Everybody, you know, they are going to see a different film. So that's why sometimes just people cannot even almost talk to each other about it because they just can't get where the other person's coming from.
Hey, I enjoy the films of Rob Zombie, so I feel attacked constantly. I'm throwing my pen down in disgust. That was disgust. So, folks, thank you for going on this crazy journey with us. Hopefully, with editing, it made sense, unlike the stupid movie we talked about. And Simon, thank you so much for bringing the good shit, dude.
Oh, no worries, right back at you.
Hell yeah, you always bring the ultimate, I don't know.
Do I bring that dank research, hopefully?
That's one individual doobie.
I've somehow resisted for every episode so far. I really should have done during the Idle Hands episode, shouldn't I? But there's a missed opportunity.
Oh, totally. Folks, in case you don't know, Idle Hands, the episode, changed the tone of Simon and I's conversation forever.
We
are speaking a whole different language now, my friend.
Yes.
Bye, folks.
Good night.
Hello, This is the Doom Show is a proud member of the Legion Podcast Network. Please check out the other podcasts on legionpodcasts.com. If you'd like more Hello, This is the Doom Show, go to hellodoomshow.podomatic.com or go to doomedmoviethon.com for the archives. If that's still not enough, go to @doomedmoviethon on Twitter. You can write in to Hello, This is the Doom Show. Use the email doomedmoviethon@gmail.com. Doom Show episodes are available on record and 8-track cassette.
If you enjoyed this show, then make sure you check out the other great shows on the Legion Podcast Network, like Cinema Psyops, Cinema Beef, Devour the Podcast, Duncan and Bo Come Correct, Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, Friday the 13th, Get Slayed, The Helming Power Hour, Hello, This is the Doom Show, Hero Hero Go Show, Kill the Cast, Underwater Kaiju from Outer Space, Jerry Hates Action, Legion After Dark, Mental Health, Obsessive Cinema Discourse, Pick 6 Movies, the podcast by The Cemetery, the podcast on Haunted Hill, the Psychosemantic podcast, Rick Radio, House of Wax, Dude Looks Like the 80s, Rabbit and Red Radio, the Shadecast, Short Bus Cinema, 2 Drink Minimum Commentaries, the VD Clinic, Who Will Survive Horror Podcast, and Witch vs. the Doomsday Clock. With such a wide spread of shows, there is guaranteed to be a niche for you to fall in love with. Horror, politics, movies, books, sex, music, commentaries, health, video games, kaiju, action, news, comedy, and opinions that would most likely get you killed in some parts of the world. We are proud to bring you some of the best podcasting in the world. Check us out at www.legionpodcast.com, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, and any other dark corner of the internet where podcasts can be found.